Damond Durr.
Damond D. Fields.
This is Sankofa Conversations.
Black to the building, black to the building, and black to the healing. It is your man, I'm Rashidi, aka Papa Rod. You know what time it is. It is Sankofa Talks, y'all. Live at Sankofa. If you ain't been here, you need to come here and see what's happening. I want to first of all say what's up to my brothers, of which I love, and very rarely do you hear black men say they love each other publicly, so I'm going to start already revolutionary. We just had a function, man, with Professor Grip, the Black Mobile Museum 101, man. I thought it was beautiful last night, and I want to talk a little about that, but I want to say more than anything else, I want to thank this brother, get me right there, because he made a call. He did a call out, and he called out for us, the brothers, to come back together from something he saw as a young man, and that's what I'm talking about, Sankofa. And I'm feeling that now, the impact of that is building, and we got momentum, and that's how I'm gonna start it out, man. I'm gonna pass the ball.
Look, this man right here lays down the blueprint, and then we just follow in along. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody comes with something with some knowledge, information, then you got to be able to hop in and join them with it. So I'd like to say I'm glad to be here. These brothers right here, I love them too, because they are committed to be able to make our people better. I mean, we have a lot of people out there talking, doing things, but you never see them in action all the time. You know, I like we talk about our scholars. Dr. Mimi Fuller, I always said thought, speech, and action in that order. You know, and so these brothers, they always think, look, this brother, he always writing something. He's writing it down and thinking it's going in. You know what I mean? It's what I'm saying. And Brother Damond, you can see he has this lovely establishment here. These brothers about thought, speech, and action, putting it in. And so I'm glad to just be a part of it.
Did you give me your name, brother?
Oh, Cranston, keep along. AKA keep along.
There it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where you, brother?
I mean, all I can say is Ubuntu.
Oh, okay, there it is.
I am because we are.
Yeah, kind of interesting. That's what Brother Clarence told me. Ubuntu, cuz. We found out we were truly family, man. Yeah, that's real. First of all,
I just don't want to see you walking around trying to get us to hold them cotton.
you wrong, man. I ain't gonna let you treat my cousin like that, man.
You know, the kid folk, man.
I tell you one thing though, brother. He broke down some science, man, about the cotton. I opened my mind. I listened.
Yes.
Blew my mind. You know, that's why I was thinking about the impact that cotton had on the world. I'm thinking just us in Arkansas and cotton patch, but I'm realizing the world benefited from it.
So he broke it down how it was here. You know how you grow even here.
Mm-hmm.
He got information though.
Yeah, said it was cow country, but it's really cotton country.
Yeah.
Cotton bowl.
That's right.
No doubt.
But hey, I wanted to say this too, and in keeping with responsibility to us and the black men. Tell the son of Hotel, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. He was the one that financed the brothers coming down, set everything up. We didn't get a chance to even acknowledge that last night.
Right.
So in a public forum, the son of man, thank you for who you are and what you did. Thank you, Professor Grip, man, for your consistency, brother.
Oh, man.
Not just what
Decades,
you
brother.
Oh, man.
Decades, you know what I mean?
Who had the fear of a black planet? Was that?
Okay.
Hey. And then when I was talking, man, I realized last night, I did some research. They did the largest video of bringing people together ever.
That's right.
Which one?
The one.
Oh my God.
Oh, that.
They walking in the street.
Yeah.
I can't think of that. I can see
Don't believe that. Fight the power. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the fight the power either, brother. They were saying the same thing, but they didn't have a video like that, man.
Wow, man, I remember that video. I'm watching because I love old school hip hop, man. So I'm watching that video about 2 months ago, man. I was watching that. That was the largest.
That was the largest ever assembly of people together for a video. What those brothers did, man, I think was so powerful. And then you can see what is happening now. They say Kanye West is missing now. 2 weeks they haven't been able to find him. $53,000 behind on several different places that he owed. Sounds a little like Dave Chappelle when they said he went to South Africa. Bill Cosby. We can look at the so-called celebrities and stars who are being broken down. And I'm seeing something. I'm seeing the pattern because Professor Grip said something to me last night. He was saying, "Hey man, yeah, I understand what's going on with Kanye West, man, but I was kicked out the group as a result of that. I had forgotten about that, man."
And they took it fast for you.
No, I didn't know that. So So you basically trying to starve. You going back to Paul Robeson with it?
He just got his passport back not too long ago. That's kind of one of the reasons that he got into.
Wow.
Yeah, he just, you know, I had to tell y'all that.
Okay. Don't tell everything. We speak truth to power. We the power.
I'm gonna tell y'all who helped him get it.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, it takes us working together. My point to that is that we have to keep this collective energy. I'm seeing a resurgence right now. I'm seeing a resurgence of black men thinking differently, acting differently, and we'll assume it's not happening because all you're doing is you're giving us the bad version of what you see, a negative version. You know, 61% of our black brothers are doing pretty good. 54% of them are married right now and don't have children. We're not even talking about that. There's a lot of black men, they say, well, they aren't in college because they're making money now as entrepreneurs, and ain't nobody even talking about that.
That's true. That's right. That's true. That's
Yeah.
good. There's a whole lot of them, man, out there that are making money, doing some things. I mean, I talk with, especially, I would say, like, I'm 40, so I mean, I'm my generation. I think it's the generation. I guess it would be the Generation Z. Some of the others. You know?
See, I ain't got one generation. I don't lie today. Those are forms of separation, but that's identity. I know what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you know how they frame it. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that those people were born in 1980, you know, and afterwards on that. The millennials.
The millennials.
Yeah, help me with this.
We were the baby boomers.
Not baby boomers. Well, I don't know. Either way, whatever it is. Basically, what I'm saying is that generation and that one and the one that comes after them, they were part of the whole, what they call it, the Great Resignation and whatnot during COVID. All that because, man, they realized that they could do a lot of things for themselves. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day when I came out of Prairie View, and a little plug right there. And then so
You ain't got to plug it, baby. That's us. See, that's a part of the we right there.
So when I came out and then decided a little bit less than 2 years after that I wanted to go do my own thing, man, it was like revolutionary. I mean, I had people, you know, in the family like, man, you crazy. You know, I mean, it was a serious, like, you know, breaking away from the nipple, you know, kind of thing. Like, are you sure you can swallow whole foods and everything? I'm good. You know, my digestive system ready. But I'm saying now, I commend a lot of people that are in that millennial generation, whatever is coming out. They ain't scared. You know, they are not scared to be able to get out here. Like a lot of the brothers, you know, they're out there doing their thing. Because many brothers, I think, to be able to step out, they were a little fearful on the fact that, man, I got to be able to take care of my wife, my children, this and that, or whatever. They wasn't, you know, as they say in the church, you know, they wasn't ready to step out on faith.
Right.
But I see a lot of these new generation of folks, man, they ain't scared. They're ready to get out here. They're ready to get out there, and they are doing it. Like to your point, man, they doing it a large percentage of it.
Well, after post-slavery, man, that's what we did. We didn't have no money. Whatever we did, obviously we bought it. Sharecropping didn't work for us well. If you go back and look at the history of that, it didn't turn out well for us. But we made these transitions. I want you all to be smart also too. I do this in my training. Be careful of the titles that they give you, because when somebody gives you a title, they define you.
No doubt.
And then when they define you, they separate you from the people that gave you your definition to begin with. So you call me millennial, you call me a baby boomer, you give me just cause not to agree with you. And they play that psychology game. The key to psychology and interrupting the pattern of thinking is distraction. And that distraction comes by titles of names. We're defending ourselves now. We even question gender. We're questioning everything because they redefine. Remember I told you when we first started the show, man, we got to start putting together our own words.
But even with the age gap situation, where that started from is during the time that Europe was not living long. So, you know, in order to become you know, and they was dying off at 25 and 30. If you was to become 25 and 26, you was considered an old
middle-aged
elder
man,
person.
maybe, yeah.
You was the elder.
Okay.
So they was dying early. So that's when they created you an adolescent, teenager, and all of this. This is what Dr. Africa was talking about years ago. And I remember him saying that. And it goes back to even with Barry Shango. You know, I got this book up here, Rest in Peace, Barry.
Moses bar to the spirit of this great brother.
Yeah, but when he talks about all of the diseases and everything that they was going through, and this, you know, with all of the different type of freakiness that they were doing, this is why, and then the cleanliness, you know, that they didn't even realize about taking baths or anything like this here, you know, so they were dying off at an early age. So what they doing now is they still playing the same game, because we dying off as well, and then they dying off. So what they doing is trying, like you saying, I gotta brand this in order to, because at the end of the day, it's all about, I gotta brand this in order so I can redefine it so I can make money off of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true right there.
I mean, we have to realize too, for those who listen, that we were bought and sold. We were the initial stock market, as you know that. You know, it was your granddaddies that used to put plows on. And the reason I say that is that at least we ever forget about that. You and I were doing a sports analysis, and you and I today, you said that was some heavy stuff you said about the different positions that people play on the field. And remember, sports is just a microcosm of what? Life and family, bro. And then you'll start to look at how things have come to part. You were talking about different people playing roles. If I understood your role better, then I would respect it better. Would you get that analysis? No. What you talking about?
No spirit be along with that.
So then I was talking about a little bit earlier, and he was giving me this analysis of this guy who had these two teams, and he was saying the second team would always beat the first one.
John Maxwell.
Yeah.
So okay. So what he was saying is like when he played basketball, the head coach would actually, and when they was going at it, when they were in practice, he said the number one team, he would make them play against the second team, but what he did was the number one team, he would take them out of their positions. So if you was a point guard, he put you at the center, and put the center at that, and vice versa, all the way around, and then he let the second team run in their regular position that they know about. He said each time the second team would beat the first team because the first team was all out of position.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. From a part of, I know this, if you got a widget, if you've been installing this widget for the past 10 years, you know how to install that widget. Hey, you know what, today we're going to switch, rather than widget number 1, you're going to install widget number 5. You got like, production going to go down like a month. That's
how the analysis goes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what it is. So no, that's real, man.
So what you just described is reduction going down, that's systematic.
Absolutely.
So what would happen with the people when they're out of position? When now mama is playing the role of daddy and somebody else. Grandma is playing the role of mother. Grandfather is totally absent at all. So not only do we have people out of position, we have people missing. You got a football team supposed to have 11 people. Hell, you ain't got the 7 out there.
Yeah.
Family, we say financially, or basically we would start out with 5. Grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, and a child. But if the grandfather and the father is missing, and the grandmother is raising the child, that means the mother's missing, because 45% of the time, grandmothers are now raising the children.
Yep.
So we're talking about, well, they're doing this to the black man, they're doing this to the black woman, they're doing this to the black child, through the school pipeline. No, that's a whole full-scale attack on the black family.
No doubt. What you just described there, you went from 5 down to 2. Now you're talking about, you dealing with the grandmother and the child now.
Ooh.
Now, you know what I mean? The grandmother and the child. I mean, and the grandmother's already
and that's not her natural position.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Her position should be, we in the African tradition, what they say that the elders of a council,
right?
The youth of war. She's supposed to just be counseling.
Brother, wait a minute.
I
ain't heard that one right there. I ain't heard that.
Yes, counsel. So, I mean, if we're gonna do that, then I mean, she's back in that having to be the role of an authoritarian figure, of I guess you say surrogate father or whatever.
Right.
I mean, that's all the way back.
And that's why you have to create systems of operations. When I say we, Project Jam, Journey the Gang, Alternative, don't get misled by the gang. The gangs only represent a group of people who feel like they've been alienated, and they begin to function on their own. You may consider it dysfunctional, but dysfunctional to them. But in order to be able to do something, to have 72% of them not reseal the bait, means do that again for 5 years, it means we've created a system. Yep. You have to do the same socialization system out here. You don't have to be gang members, because I don't like to call them gang members. Students who choose to be in cliques or choose to be in gangs, delinquent youth. We're kind of like in a delinquent state right now. So you said something about the 9 areas
of human activity.
Of human activity. Now that's Navy Fuller?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we talked about this earlier. Let's identify those people who are going to be in those roles. If we identify 9 and we come together as a unit of brothers, okay, who's going to be here? Finances, entrepreneurship. I don't know all the ones that are defined, but that's a part of creating a system. Solutions aren't what to nickel unless you got execution.
Absolutely.
That's the same thing on the field. Go back to that semantics. You be in practice, killing the game, man.
Break down, before we go into this thing else, so we talking about the roles in the sports and the family. Break down how you used to do it back in the day when we talked about, if you still remember the exact analysis you used to use about the Maroons and the military use the 5 and the 6, that.
Right. That's a system also. Yesterday I talked about this when we were doing the piece on the movie script, is that if you get a whole bunch of people in a slave ship that speak in different languages and been taught things that are different, even if they come from the same culture, you have to figure out through pain, through unbearable conditions, how to speak his language on a 6-month trip, however long you want to say it. Now, when you arrive, you get there are certain brothers who have created this idea that we're going to be free. and I'm willing to do anything to be free. But those who stood on the auction block, if they were Maroons and identified as such, as soon as they said sold, he would take his right hand and extend it over to the left side of his chin and break his own neck. If there was a Maroon woman that you raped, if you could rape her, if you seeded inside of her, she would take her life. And what she was doing was she was being free and getting a representation of that freedom. Most of them migrated to areas where it was terrible to live. Quicksand, snakes, scorpions, swamps, mosquitoes, malaria. We learned to live that very much like the conditions that we're seeing now, metaphorically. And then they come together, they always came together in groups of 5, 7, and the most would be 9. Always an odd number. You always had an accountability partner. They said, well, Rashid, you got that thing wrong. If there's 9 people, you can't have an accountability partner. Who is the accountability partner of the leader? The whole damn team. Anybody come down, the leader got to know what everybody does. But that migration continued on. 1933, they migrated into Chicago. But before they went to Chicago, they were known to fire wood down almost like a blade. They would pack themselves in mud and leaves to be able to kill or attack or to wound one man. Later on, if you could be coming in and say the cavalry was coming in and you'd be sitting on the mountain, and I realized that there was a straw coming out of the mountain. There was a man in here. When y'all went to sleep, he would go out and strategically kill the one that he needed to kill. Not all of them. Right. And then leave the premise. That concept now, we call ourselves Maroons. They now call themselves the Marine Corps. Just a few good men. They fought and they were put up front first. We just need a few good men. The Black Panther Party started with what? Just a few good men. Elijah Muhammad, and Master Muhammad, just a few. There's a couple of good men. So we don't have to have the masses. If you're looking around talking about, well, we got to have everybody. That's not how it works.
You want the masses. I mean, that would be
yeah.
But I mean,
when you jump started though, he gave an analysis of me, bringing people together. But once you bring people together, and you can, what I say, you can, this is after we talking, you can galvanize and organize, but you yourself got to realize who you are and what you do. You got to maintain your responsibility, or it's going to get thrown back on me and be considered a failure because I didn't do it. When in the reality, the leader is the accountability partner to who? The whole team.
It's back to what he said about the team. You said that the coach took these people out and put these people in. Right. That the coach understood the weaknesses. He understood these people are weak, not necessarily weak, but they might need to learn a little bit. Right. But I'm gonna test their strength. And then he let the ones who were already strong in that position do that. So it's back to the same thing you say. That analogy goes, if the old anecdote is true, it's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
What he did is the same thing that you're talking about in our community. If we have people that play these roles and responsibilities, you're talking about nearly full. We're going this one out for you. We're talking about we're talking about the 9 areas of people activity: entertainment, education,
Politics,
labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war. I think. So entertainment, economics. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Can't figure out economics.
So we're gonna list them up on the screen for y'all watching. You'll see them line here properly.
Yeah. So, but you're right. If we have that covers all 9 areas of people activity. Anything that you can pretty much think of on the planet, one of those particular areas covers it. And so, if you have people that are excellent in all of those different positions, then we will win. We will move forward. It'd be just like thought, speech, and action. These people have been thinking about this. You were just talking about a program that you were saying about how a program where they move young men from middle school all the way to
SARS, the African American Brotherhood.
Okay, all right. And I mean, I don't know.
Yes, but I was giving an example. Having worked with the organization from middle school all the way to the collegiate level, from your master's to your PhD. And you go into the university to meet those brothers at least every quarter. So that means you would have met them 16 times. Now, I'm no longer just a contact. I'm a network. I'm an accountability partner with you right now. And I was there at the organization one time, and they had 1,500. I mean, spit, polish, shine, brothers, conversation. And women that we had invited came in, and one of them wanted to speak, and she just broke down crying. She said, I didn't never think in life I would ever see anything like that. So just a representation of images shaping your reality. But however, when I said, man, this is the greatest kept secret ever. I said, ain't no reason why we shouldn't let the world know this. He said, that's when he gets you. So it's that dichotomy. And then he gave me an example. I'm a Christian man, but nevertheless, I got a lot of respect for Elijah Muhammad. He said, when they said 33,000 people showed up on that Dan Rather show, he That's because he kept it down and down. And he a good analysis. But now we got to be strategic. And when to showcase, when not. Because we're in a psychological deficit.
Absolutely.
Financially, we make enough money. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
Which I think that goes back to what we talked about in reference to execution. That's why entrepreneurship is so powerful, because you take something out of nothing, man. Zero. Negative.
You take it out there. But it's like, what Tupac said, he try to make $1 out of 15 cents. I mean, the entrepreneurs realize how they can be able to take seemingly nothing and be able to make it out of something, because with that thought, it sounds like, when we talk to people, we talk about the fastest days on the, light and sound and all that, but the speed of thought, when you got that down, and that's what we're lacking, in the community. When we have that down, where we can go in and be able to position ourselves based on what we're thinking, train the young men to know how they need to be thinking, and then execute it. I mean, ain't gonna be nothing better than that. So like programs that you're talking about, like that does conditioning.
Right.
But that's what we did. Even in the society that when we in around every day, we getting conditioned.
Right.
But the thing is, who's benefited from the conditioning that you have? Are you benefiting from the conditions you have, or is somebody else benefiting from the conditions that you have? That's the ultimate bottom line of it. So with entrepreneurs, they see a wheel, an opportunity.
Right.
And that's what they are. They're opportunistic. They look and be able to see where a weakness is, or where something can be fixed or improved.
I always use, one of the doubts that I used to use, this is even before I even started reading more, being to read the Bible, that my mom pushed the Bible. And so it was one scripture that I used to always, when I first started business, people would ask me, well, how did you do this? What make you do it? I would always tell them, I go by the famous, not the famous, but my favorite Bible verse that my mama taught me was Hebrews 11:1. And it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen.
Gotcha. Since you run a restaurant, I thought it would be a fish and multiplying. The fish on the dish. I didn't know what you were multiplying. Water in the wine.
Ain't no substance. You gotta think about it for something. The substance, you gotta have faith when you get that.
But you know what, man? It's good, man. We talking about this because we utilizing what we've learned. The Bible being a text.
Yes.
This being a text. Neely Fuller being a text.
Absolutely.
My code of conduct came from John Henry Clark.
Absolutely.
Hearing him lecture. Neely Fuller, when I started putting structures together, I said, I gotta have a matrix. It don't do no good to bring a man in a system that we can do collectively, and that system works. So it goes to show, man, that if you read, and then a part of how that happened was we had a place, man, where we could come and we could brief. That was your place. No matter whether it was a new book that we read, somebody who came to lecture, right there we were doing it. Right. Last night I felt that again. Right. It was similar to being one of the lectures we had at your spot. Right. And something like that's about to go down again. I'm saying right now. I
got that euphoria, man. That synergy, bro. I mean, when you come in and when you get dealing with a group of brothers, I mean, it can be. We're talking specifically about the brothers.
It's all right just to be the brothers.
Yeah, it is.
I'm still old school like that, Bob. I think the man should be the head, not the tail. You know what I'm saying? Listen to me, and that is not being in any manner being disrespectful to the woman, because if I'm willing to give my life, if I'm willing to sacrifice if somebody coming and breaking in the door, if I'm willing to go to jail as opposed to you going to make sure my children are taken care of, then I'm gonna be the head, bro. I'm not gonna be the tail and take all the risks.
No.
And risk ain't just about that money, man.
No.
It's like when we say, well, I'm independent then, but just get you a nigga and borrow one and keep him. You already independent, you don't need him to do nothing for you, right? You gotta work careful with that language, man. Yeah. And we get lost in the sauce because our moms have been taking the lead for so long until we hear her, even in her love, she is not masculine. She doesn't know the definition of who we are. So sometimes mom may say that's extreme. No, ma'am, you've never been a man. There's a lot of things that extreme. I think you having that baby is extreme, but thank God you did. For real. I wouldn't be here.
Came through it. Absolutely.
I think, excuse me, all this is substance. But back to that, let's do a little plug. You sell books here. What's one right now that you probably might recommend to somebody?
I mean, I always put this education figure. If they have that in a reading, that should be one. Then I would actually go with Dr. Clark.
Okay.
That would not. See, I think simple readings.
I'm with you.
I think simple reads, and then even with our bar with the breaking and changing psychological places. I think after you read this education of Negro, that's definitely, you know, a starter type of package, you know.
Right.
And then I think with those right there, it actually allows you to figure out what that 9 areas of human activities that interest you in that. But then, you know, then we can get into some more deeper, the Dr. B's, you know, the Francis Chris Western, the ISIS paper, you know. I think those, you know, those, but then we talked about a couple weeks ago, Amos Wilson.
Right.
Anything about Amos Wilson, you know.
He has some short reads, he has some dynamic reads that, you know, that's a dictionary. Just keep it for a while. You're going to be reading what?
983 pages.
Yeah. And people like, you can sit down and read it, you can read it, but it takes time to digest that.
And then we go into January where everybody likes to celebrate the I Have a Dream.
Right.
But I would suggest that we change it from I Have a Dream to where do we go from here? Community of Chaos by Dr. King.
That's good. On point.
Absolutely. I thought we had that up here one time.
Yeah, we did.
Absolutely.
Professor Grip talked about that last night. He said, when I read that, he said, man, I had to look at that man differently. I had to go back and reevaluate what when they were doing for the movie people, we doing the documentary. He's like, man, we got to embrace all our brothers.
That's right.
Understand what they're trying to do before you be critical of it. He said, then when I sat down and realized he done met with the messenger, he done met with all these people, he's like, man, that blew my mind. I didn't know that MLK was moving like that. And that to me is a testimony of us now. I'm able to patch up things with some brothers that I've had some issues with in the past because I wasn't in the state of mind where I could understand them.
Absolutely.
One thing they may have said, oh man, you can't believe that. You know, I threw the whole man out with one disagreement of what that man said. Now that's a point of reference, you guys. You should listen to that.
All the time, you're not going to agree. People to come in for different reasons, different seasons, and everything. And so once you go through some things, then I got one guy that worship with me. He always say, man, I see what you're saying now. I was like, every week I wait for the time to say, man, I see what you're saying now. And I told him, I said, because when he came on, he was like, look, man, will you mentor me through this thing and be able to show me, you know, how to do this business, this and that? And I said, sure, I will. And so inevitably, I'm telling you, either at minimum once a week, but sometimes 2 to 3 times a week, man, I see what you're saying now. You know, I was doing this. And I said, dude, it ain't that I'm just no absolute genius. But I said, what it is I just got experience, man. I done been through this thing. You know what I'm saying? This every day in Texas. It ain't my first rodeo, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been down this road. And so, you know, we talked about it before, having that wisdom, you know, and wisdom is that knowledge coupled with that experience, man. And that's
Well, the gods and earth was at the grips last night, so I'm about to use
word up.
Yeah, so they would go knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You know what I'm saying? That's Dave's mathematics. You know what I'm saying?
Life is mathematics. Life is mathematics.
That's right. Yeah.
Somebody came up with it, and I know someone get a little pushback on that, but some mathematician came up with an equation for God. Well, interesting. We'll talk about that later on. We get that information. But something I wanted to say too, in the reference you just said, what happens with a real religious people who became really religious, and I think one of the dogmas that I talk about in Manhood 101, because I was baptized at 7. It was, for me, it was the church. When I moved to Camden, Arkansas, I didn't have no friends, so I was introduced to the church at 6. All my friends came from the church. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, after being baptized at 7, I'm in the choir, so I'm singing, I get introduced to music. And then every Sunday, I'm doing, not every Sunday, Father's Day, I do a Father's Day poem, Mother's Day poem, Christmas poem, Easter poem. You call that pagan, but a portion of those things were building me as a man. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. Do something wrong, get your ass whooped. Was inside this wicked thing that y'all call the white man's religion. You have to be careful what you say. And as a result of those foundations, I went around the world literally teaching black history because that was a part of it. Being able to go to anybody's house and get something to eat and have my clothes there. I call them Big Mama. And at the time, there was no Baba, you know what I'm saying? It was Papa, you see what I'm saying? But I could go, that was a real village.
Oh yeah.
That's why I say back to the terminology, man. We get that right, we're gonna be all right.
That's a good place. We're going to come back.